What's going on, guys? Bengal King here, coming back at you with another video, and today we are back with another rebuild. Today, doing the Seattle Seahawks. The entire purpose of this rebuild, if you will, is to get the Seahawks back to their consistent Super Bowl contention. And what was that built upon? Using code BENGAL at SeatGeek for a $20 discount. No, okay, so it wasn't built on that, but you can do that if you're so inclined. It was built on defense, more specifically their secondary. Of course, you guys will be familiar with the Legion of Boom, led by Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor. Now, those three players are gone. Now, Bobby Wagner emerged later on, but it was really those three players in the secondary, and then it was kind of like mix and match. Who else was going to come in and play cornerback? Pretty much anyone. It was fine because the rest of the secondary was so good that you couldn't beat them. All right, so this is the team, and it's an interesting one. There's some certain upgrades that are obviously very much needed, and of course, we have the realistic rebuild series on the channel. This one's a little bit less realistic, so whereas in real life, I don't think the Seahawks would ever trade Dwayne Brown, nor would they have the opportunity to, more than likely. But in this, Dwayne Brown is 34. He's going to be on the brink of retirement with certain regression incoming. So Dwayne Brown's probably going to be a player I'd like to trade. I think the rest of the offensive line is kind of a mixed bag. Mike Iupati, probably, if I can trade him, I will. Another weird age situation. Justin Britt's cool for now. He's, what, 28, though? So, yeah, regression's going to hit him pretty soon. DJ Fluker should be okay for now. Another 28-year-old, but star development and a better overall should hold that off a bit. Jermaine Ifedi, not particularly good, but Ed Dixon, Nick Vannett, Will Dissly. I'll probably start Dissly because of his star development. And same thing with DJ. We got David Moore here. With DK Metcalf, I'm going to definitely start him. Star development or higher. It's probably star, but star development or higher. Definitely want to get him a ton of touches. Backfield's fantastic. Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, J.D. McKissick, Russell Wilson, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I would say certainly top 5, top 6. He's a very, very good player. David Moore, Gary Jennings, the Seahawks drafted, I guess, or have somehow. Jerron Brown, Amara Darboh a couple years ago. Defensively, things are not what they used to be. Bradley McDougald is a highlight of the team, which is not great. Tedrick Thompson's in here. Michael Kendricks has some weird, insider trading stuff going on. I don't know what his future is. He's like, what, 30, though? Only 28? I don't know why I thought he was a bit older, but B-Wags, of course, maybe the best linebacker in the NFL, or best inside linebacker. It's kind of a toss-up between him and Luke Kuechly. You could go either way. Bobby Wagner may be a slight edge. KJ Wright in here, Barkevious Mingo, of course, Shaquem Griffin, Ben Burr-Kirvin, of course, local at Washington. So it's just not what it used to be. And then other Shaq Griffin, Shaquem over here, and then Shaquille over here, kind of gets burnt a lot. A little bit overrated in my opinion. Still young, still could turn it around. Don't get me wrong. Jamar Taylor, Trey Flowers, Deshaun Shedd's back in Seattle now. Nico Thorpe, another corner. And then the defensive line is kind of bad. Jerron Reed had a great year last year. Don't get me wrong, but Al Woods, Poona Ford, kind of a beast, took him horns. Earl Mitchell, Naz Jones. We got Ziggy Ansah. I know he just signed a contract to come play for the Seahawks. I'm interested in trading him. 30 years old, 80 overall. Probably can go. Cassius Marsh, also not that good. LJ Collier was a first-round pick by the Seahawks this year. I probably want to start him immediately, see if he can win Defensive Rookie of the Year or something like that. So I'm going to get straight on that. I'm going to make some trades. People have been asking me a lot. It's like, how come you don't make big player trades anymore? And I try to when I can in these non-super realistic rebuilds, but it's harder to trade for players, and I don't want to give up a ton of value for a player, and picks have just been more valuable. So that's kind of the approach that I've taken so far in Madden 20. All right, so boom, big first trade. I know it's not exactly the most exciting thing, but I'm doing what the Seahawks have elected not to do over the past few years, and that's actually build up an offensive line. Now, we are trading away our starting left tackle in Dwayne Brown, Al Woods as well, but we're bringing in Rodney Hudson, one of the best centers in the NFL. Should be an absolute wall for us at that center spot. That also leaves us an opportunity to either move Justin Britt outside. We could get rid of his cap hit, which is kind of a lot for his overall and age. We could acquire another tackle, perhaps, because we don't have one anymore. One of any talent, I should say. Oh, okay. We're about to make a very, very big splash, I think. Yeah, we definitely are. So, again, this one is not super realistic, but if it fits, it ships. Justin Britt, Ziggy Ansah, and a 4th-round pick for Von Miller. Our defensive line gets a whole lot better. We replace Ziggy Ansah very, very nicely with Von Miller. Yeah, that's a worthwhile change. So we can either slide him down. Cassius Marsh can get traded. I know some of you guys missed these blockbuster trades that happen a lot in previous Maddens, but just a lot of them haven't been as possible. I'm trying to see what I can do for some of you guys that like this experience more. Boom, Barkevius Mingo and Bradley McDougald for a first round pick, I should say, from the Cincinnati Bengals. I keep adjusting myself on this couch. I'm not used to not being in a chair, so I kind of sink into this one a little bit. But, I mean, we're creating a pretty good team so far. I think picks are important, so I definitely wanted to make that, maybe not a priority, but a focus for sure. All right, Cassius Marsh and Ed Dixon for a first from Arizona. They undervalue first-round picks way too much in this game, so I would highly recommend, and I'll pass the feedback along and see if EA finally wants to address it in some way. And we're making the team worse in the short term to be better long term, which I'm comfortable doing. I would say, why be a middle-of-the-pack team when you can be a fantastic team in 2 years? So that's kind of the approach that we're taking. And I would like to get a little bit more protection for Russell Wilson. It just is proving incredibly difficult to trade for some of these offensive linemen. It really is. I've traded for him before, but we're going to do it again. Micah Potty, George Fant for Jerome Baker. I happen to know that Jerome Baker progresses very, very well in these, and I know you guys have seen him a lot in Dolphins franchise if you watch that series on my channel. I appreciate you. It's been probably the most well-reviewed series I've ever had, so I like when that happens. That's very, very nice of you guys, and I thank you for supporting pretty much everything I do. Let's go ahead and rearrange these positions a bit to fit the 4-3, and we should be in business. All right, Michael Kendricks and Earl Mitchell for Trey Turner. Don't need Michael Kendricks anymore. He's a little bit older. I think Jerome Baker is going to be better in the long term for us by a country mile. So Trey Turner is going to go ahead and start probably at left guard. I think that's a good fit for him. Fantastic. So this is the team for season number 1. You guys pretty much seen it. We've got a glaring hole at left tackle. And then our secondary is not fantastic. Although I think players will develop nicely. Things will be pretty good. If you care about specialists, that's what I have rocking. We're pretty good. Also, for the patrons, I appreciate you guys a ton. Of course, Patreon link is in the description if you guys want to go above and beyond. But I'm changing up things a little bit. So when you sign up on Patreon, I'll talk about this again in the draft. I'm not going to add you in the scouting area, but I'll change your name after the draft, which means for the $50 patrons at least, I can get you guys on my team every time for your next rebuild after signing up. So I hope you guys enjoy that change. I think that's going to be fairly well received. Of course, not mandatory. I appreciate you guys just watching. But for those who do want to go above and beyond, I try to give back in any way that I can. But it is pretty much just a donation page. So I do appreciate you guys. Let me tell you, being an adult now, I know I look like a tall child, like John Mulaney, right? But I am an adult. I do have adult responsibilities now, and I hate it. Let me tell you. Bills, not a fan. Buffalo Bills, also not a fan. But taxation, still theft. I don't know if you've been following me on Twitter at all. Still theft. I hate it. We're 2-6 at the midseason mark. Not exactly great, but the NFC West is highly competitive at the moment. And Rodney Hudson is an impending free agent. That's noteworthy. So is Jerron Reed. Rodney Hudson, he's had superstar. I don't know why I thought he got upgraded. David Moore is here. I don't really care for that. We're going to bring back Jarran Reed and Rodney Hudson for sure. As for the other players, we'll make a decision later down the line. We got a lot of cap room. I did a fantastic job of just clearing cap with all the trades we made. I mean, we brought in some big hits with Von Miller, but otherwise, I mean, for the most part, we did fantastically. All right, so Rodney Hudson, Jarran Reed, they return. We'll probably end up bringing back David Moore, although it's just not at the top of my priority list at the moment. We're going to upgrade players. I have injuries on. This is my first time doing this. Also, I don't want you guys to think anything by this. Like, whoa, look at Bengal. He has alcohol. He's just virgin lips have touched the devil's juice, all right? But these, I'm not going to say the brand or anything because I'm not getting paid, but they're like vintage Astros, like throwback jerseys on the can, and it looks incredible. So I don't know. It'd be cool if they did this for football teams. I don't know like what it would work for, but whatever. We're gonna use Coach XP. I'll see you guys for the playoffs. I don't think we're gonna make them, but you never know with Madden Sim. Let's go ahead and boost up the D-line. Didn't make the playoffs. It's not exactly a huge shock. Finished 6-10, and the Rams 9-7. Kind of brutal. You know, it is what it is. Russell Wilson was fairly good, as was the offense, 19th in the league. That's not terrible. 23rd defense is not exactly where we'd like it to be. Sometimes just the way of the road. So Russell Wilson throws for over 4,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. Rushing, Rashad Penny. How did Chris Carson get so few touches? Oh, injuries, dude. Oh, that's screwed with everything. Okay. So I guess he maybe was injured. David Moore had, what? 16 touchdown catches from not even a real college, East Central. That's not a location. University. That's not a place. I wish I was DK Metcalf numbers. What a ridiculous year for David Moore. 16 touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards. That's so interesting. Defensively, Trey Flowers had 113 tackles. Dude, what is going on with stats? 13 sacks from Von Miller led the team. Shaquem Griffin had 5.5. Did my depth chart adjustments not save? Because it feels like just random stuff happened. I have no idea. I think maybe injuries being off screw with everything. Nick Foles wins MVP of the 12-4 Jaguars. What is actually happening here? I have no clue. NFC Offensive Player of the Year is Matt Ryan. Russell Wilson at number 7. Defensive Player of the Year is Fred Warner. No Seahawks. Did we see Michael Kendricks? Of course we did. Offensive Rookie of the Year is Kyler Murray. DK Metcalf at 5. It's tough to beat a quarterback, I will tell you. Defensive Rookie of the Year is Devin White. Only one we would have had in the conversation would have been LJ Collier, but it seems like he didn't even decide to play. I'm not sure how Shaquem Griffin got so many sacks. He was originally the rush right end, but I took him out and put in LJ Collier because he's a defensive end, and they changed it. I guess with injuries, man. That screwed up actually everything. I'm actually frustrated. Can I say actually again? Idiot. We're going to go to the offseason. I am frustrated because that's going to screw up development a little bit for some of these players that I needed to do well. Like if DK Metcalf would have won Rookie of the Year, if LJ Collier would have won Rookie of the Year, these are big upgrades as the Panthers lose to the Patriots 31-3 in the Super Bowl. Bit of an odd matchup there. We're up to an 80. So the team is actually coming along very, very nicely. Any notable upgrades? David Moore has star now, which means I'm definitely going to be able to hold on to him. He was probably in the slot too, right? Of course he was. Because I originally had DK Metcalf there, but I guess DK got injured. And then he would have had like 16 touchdowns. Just a frustrating set of circumstances. That's all I can really say for it. But I guess it gets David Moore star development, which is cool. Although maybe we'd be seeing DK Metcalf with superstar. Jerome Baker is up to star. Tedrick Thompson is up to star. So a lot of players were actually upgraded, which is cool. So we have to bring back David Moore. He's only 25. He's a 79 overall. has to be done. Probably a 5-year deal. So David Moore re-signed. Germain Ifedi is probably someone I just have to deal with. I guess a 2-year deal. I'll up the money a little bit. I definitely don't want to keep him for the future, but I guess 2 years is fine. We can look for a replacement. Jerron Brown can walk. Vanette can walk. I mean, we don't really need any of these guys. But David Moore is back, so that's big. Free agency now. We're going to need to capitalize. We have a lot of money, over 40 mil. Offensive line. Is there a left tackle here? It's the same players every time, so I know that there's not going to be. Cody Whitehair, Matt Skura, Graham Glasgow. I mean, we really can't do anything with any of these players. So, I went after Eric Berry, which is something I would normally never do, but he's going to be a placeholder for now. That's pretty much all he's going to be. No good offensive lineman, so I couldn't really go in that direction. He is an 85 overall. He is 31. But I think he's going to put us in a position to where we can compete for a Super Bowl in Season 2. I really do. Tedrick Thompson is trending in the right direction. We could still use help at edge, for sure. Still at cornerback, still at safety. But overall, the defense is looking good now, and the offense is looking solid. We just need tackles and depth, of course, but it's pretty much draft time. I'll see you guys there. NFL draft time. Broncos hold the #1 overall pick. And, of course, we will be changing the names of the draft picks to the top Patreon supporters and some of the lower ones. Probably I'll do as well. We pick at 7, 8, and 9. So I guess we have all the time in the world. Didn't need to pause. I can take whoever I want. So we're going to start off with Dallas Durban here out of Washington State. Same school as tackle in this year's class, Andre Dillard. Or I guess last year's, technically. Got taken by the Eagles. But Durban, very, very strong. Great top 3 skills. I would be shocked, and I really do mean shocked, if he's not a top 2 player in the class. Just generally offensive tackles with those top skills at all A- or better with great combines like that. Super, super strong. High amount of bench press. Very agile with the 3-cone and the 20-yard shuttle. It's acceleration. That's agility. He should be very, very good. And he is a 78 overall. #2 in the class. So that technically means #3 in the class because #0 for some reason is the best, but he has star development or better. I'm going to cut this shit. I've been, obviously, if you've watched the past couple rebuilds, I've been like, ooh, who knows what it could be. Everyone, or some people, are asking questions as to how. Some people have said it ruins it. It's a rebuild. I'm going to tell you, I know it's superstar. So both arms up. I'm not going to flex because there's nothing here. But both arms up is superstar. One arm up, as you see there, is superstar X Factor. One arm up is superstar, and then arms crossed is star. So Dallas Durban has superstar development as a tackle. Pretty rare to see that, but a very, very good selection. He'll play left tackle and start there right away. He'll be very, very good and progress really quickly. Superstar dev is pretty rare, I would say overall, and especially at tackle, it's extremely rare. And I honestly think Greg Skinner out of Miami is going to be a very, very good tackle as well. Now, have teams been fooled by tackles out of Miami in the past? We won't name any names. Eric Flowers, I couldn't resist. But 43 reps is probably the most I've ever seen in the combine. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not an NFL record, but I mean in Madden. His top skills are good. Could come in and start probably immediately over Germain Ifedi. So that's going to be the decision we make. And he's actually a 79 overall. Only normal development, but the #1 player in the class, which means he's actually the #2, which means there's either a 79 or an 80 overall player in this class, which is extremely rare and extremely cool, in my opinion. He's very good, extremely strong. Our tackles got a huge upgrade this draft, and now I'm going to take a defensive tackle. So we're going to have 2 really, really good defensive tackles. And it's not going to be Eric Santiago. It's going to be one that I think is a little bit better than Eric Santiago in Stuart Spellman. And again, these names could change, but I just see, really high hit power, better than what Santiago offers, but A- power moves, which is better than any rush move we see that Santiago have. B+ pursuit, which is only slightly worse than Santiago. He just seems like he has a higher ceiling, and he's a scheme fit, and his combine was unbelievable. So welcome to the team. 76 overall. Star development, of course, arm crossed. #8 in the class, we took him at #9. I'd be interested to see what Eric Santiago is in terms of overall. it's probably going to be close. 75 overall, so we made the right decision. Next, we pick up at number 5 in the second round. I think we have at least 2 picks. Yeah, 2 picks in the second round. I'm going to take a cornerback here for sure. He's off the board. He wasn't supposed to go till the 3rd, dude. Why you got to do this to me? That's sad. I wanted to continue my run of amazing picks. We're going to go Merrill Norton here out of Florida. Welcome to the team. 68 overall, number 55. We took him at 37. Not exactly the best, and we didn't really need to take a wide receiver. He just looked okay, which is, I guess, not a really good excuse to draft someone. And Bruce Beckett here at Wake Forest looks decent. He'd be a backup linebacker, so not exactly at the top of my list. Lee Miller would be a backup defensive tackle, but looks pretty solid. Probably a first-round talent. We'll take him. Lee Miller is a 70 overall, number 31, so he does actually sneak inside the first round. We took him at 40. We've pretty much filled all of our holes, honestly. It's like a gangbang, dude. I mean, there's no hole has been unfilled by this draft. We pick here in the 3rd round. There's not really too much to take. We could take a guard. There wouldn't be a huge reason to take one. Quinn Foster looks all right. Paul Bear. I'm just basically looking at Combine to see who stands out. I mean, they're all very comparable. We will go with... It's basically... I could just do whatever. We'll go Derek Riddick out of South Carolina. He is a 67, number 58 in the class. We took him at 72. Whatever. I will see you guys at the end of the draft for the draft recap. This was probably one of the better drafts I've ever had. I know I had 3 first-round picks, but we took 2 players inside the top 2 or 3, and we also took a player inside the top 10. And when I say inside, I mean like the value. So we did really, really well. Superstar Dev, Star Dev, and Normal Dev. Nice little rainbow development there. Yeah, I mean, 3 players at 76 or higher, 4 first-round talents. We did have 3 first-round picks, so I guess maybe that isn't super incredible. But we did really, really well overall. We'll see where the rest of the NFL was. So there is an 80. Junior Buckner, who I would have taken had he been on the board. He's definitely going to have star or better development. Hidden, I actually don't know what it is. We can find out. If I had to guess, though, I mean, you're saying 80 overall, best in the class. I mean, it's probably at least superstar. It's star, okay. Well, I guess. All right. We did really, really well. This seemed to be an amazingly stacked draft class. And it pretty much was. There were a bunch of really, really solid players in the entire class. So we did really well. Out of the draft here, we took the second, third, and like 8th best player, something like that. So pretty good draft for us overall, I would say. That is right. We could have used an edge rusher. We just weren't really in a position to take one. I wanted a cornerback, but we just couldn't take him. But that is the team. Team's doing pretty well. I really like where we are. I think this team can come in and compete right away. I will see you guys at the midseason mark. I expect big things. Oh, we're going to actually pause it. I want to make sure everyone is in their proper position in the specialist area, because that actually matters a ton for whatever reason. That's interesting that Stuart Spellman is a higher overall rush D tackle than Jerron Reed is. I guess that would come down to speed, probably. 81 to 65. Wow, he's fast as hell. Stuart Spellman at 6'7", 299. Yeah, he's a bit of a monster. 83 power move, 77 block shed, high tackle, or decently high tackle at 80, 82 hit power. Really, really good player, and his coverage is actually surprisingly good. It's 40 is in there. I don't know how you determine that for a D tackle. But not too bad. So you have seen the team. Now I'm going to simulate to the midseason mark. And hopefully things go well enough. I would really, really expect a playoff berth from us at this point. We're a high enough overall. Our offense is fantastic. Our defense is really coming together. Let's see some big things. 3-3-1. Not great. The Giants are 6-1. That is my favorite team. For what it's worth, I doubt the Giants would be 6-1 in 2020. I guess you never know. Things could change. We'll see. Chris Carson's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, as is Eric Berry, who I probably am not going to bring back. Shaquille Griffin, DJ Fluker, KJ Wright. KJ Wright, I get he's a fan favorite. He's 31. He's down to a 79 overall. we can do better at this point. So probably not at the top of my list to bring back. So Chris Carson, Shaquille Griffin, DJ Fluker, Tedrick Thompson all return. A little bit up in the air on the rest for the time being. So I'm not going to really just jump to do anything like that. We'll check in on the team because we're up to a 91 offense now. I would expect that the tackles are coming together pretty nicely. We'll auto upgrade on, and of course, development is revealed. Superstar Dev for Durban. Oh, we didn't change the name, so let's go ahead and do that. So Andrew Bowers. I know it's not exactly the most exhilarating of positions, but you're going to be our franchise left tackle. So appreciate you, Andrew Bowers. You are a $50 patron on Patreon. So, of course, you got to show up. That link is in the description, again, if you guys are so inclined. But, again, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you guys on Patreon so much. Also got Gabe Lopez, who's a receiver out of Florida now. Gabe is in the mid-tier range, so, of course, it doesn't mean that he's going to be a high prospect or a high draft pick like some of these other guys. A little bit buried on the depth chart, but you are making the cut at least, even if you are receiver number 6 or so. And then actually a bottom tier in the Patreon support is Uncle Rico. That's the name on there. That's the name we're going to do. And I'm not going to hold back. Uncle Rico, of course, quarterback in Napoleon Dynamite, is a defensive end here, and he's real bad at a 58, but that's the lower tier. But at least you're on the team now. So we've made that change to the Patreon stuff. I hope you guys enjoy that change. But I will see you guys for the playoffs. We're on the brink of being able to make it. We've just got to capitalize on our opportunities. I'm going to do offensive line training boost because I find that to be extremely important. And we will simulate the playoffs 3-3-1. Let's turn that into at least 10-5-1. That would be my ideal record to make the playoffs. I think 10 wins should be good if we only lose 5 games with the tie. 9-6-1, so we managed to sneak into the playoffs. Cowboys also shared the same record, but we won the division. We won the division at 9-6-1. Our offense was not great, but defensively, we were top half of the league, barely. I don't know how we even won 9 games. I feel like we were a little bit better last year, maybe not. Russell Wilson was okay, nothing crazy. Rushing, Chris Carson was pretty good. Rashad Penny was all right. Receiving, Tyler Lockett had the most catches, yards. Although touchdowns went to Will Dissly, really. DK Metcalf was okay as well, 800 yards on 69 catches. Nice. Offensive line was a wall. Who didn't allow 1 sack? Hold on. We only had 4 players there. So we had a starter. DJ Fluker did not allow a sack. Good on him. Bobby Wagner, 109 tackles, led the team. Tackles for loss, 11 from Von Miller, who also had 14.5 sacks. Not much going on from the rest of the defensive line. I'm not going to lie to you. Shaquille Griffin, 4 interceptions, 3 from KJ Wright, 2 for Eric Berry. I probably should have traded KJ Wright. We're just going to watch him regress, which is going to be real sad. After the Super Bowl week, he'll probably go down to like a 75, as everyone went 9-6-1 this year. Chiefs, Cowboys, Seahawks, probably more. Mahomes wins the MVP, though. No Seahawks in there. NFC Offensive Player of the Year is Ezekiel Elliott. Was that Kerryon Johnson at number 2? Interesting. Defensive Player of the Year is Aaron Donald. Got KJ Wright, really. KJ Wright in there at number 8. Von Miller at number 10. Offensive Rookie of the Year is Jaden Meeks. No Seahawks, obviously. We had offensive linemen. But Defensive Rookie of the Year is Kari Bernard. Stuart Spellman, the defensive tackle, at number 3. So we are up to an 85 overall, 91 offense, 85 defense. Might as well show you guys some of the upgrades here and see them for myself. So Andrew Bowers is up to an 82. Of course, that was formerly the whatever left tackle we drafted. Forget his name at this point. Skinner's up to an 81. Will Dissly's up to a 78. Development, of course, does not change during the regular season almost ever. DK Metcalf up to an 83. Moving along nicely. David Moore still hanging around at an 81. Rashad Penny up to an 81. We have Deshaun Kaiser and Travis Homer in there. Bo Scarborough even. So they're doing whatever they're doing. Defensively, Jerome Baker up to an 81. Spellman up to an 80 is quite nice. Tedrick Thompson has developed a little bit. I would love to see some of these guys go up to superstar development, depending on how we do here in the playoffs. It is only year 2. I'm not expecting all that much. Can we beat the Cowboys, though? I would love that. We don't. We lose 31-27 just by 4. Frustrating loss, but it just wasn't our year, man. Year 3, we're going to be successful. We're going to be dominant even. You never know with Madden Sim, but hopefully we play pretty well. As the Cowboys beat the Chargers 27-24, at least if you can take any consolation in a loss, at least we lost to the Super Bowl champions KJ Wright is down to a 74. Have to let him walk. Eric Berry's down to an 82. We're going to let him walk. Poona Ford could come back. You know, I love to draft defensive tackles, so maybe we don't need to do that. But we'll offer him a slightly long-term deal, 4 years. That's a pretty big deal. Not, you know, super big, but it's decent. And he'll be a good third-string defensive tackle. Rotate in whenever. I think depth is important. We've got 32 mil available to spend. Trent Williams is here. We don't need a left tackle anymore. Richard Sherman we could bring back. John Johnson, though, that is extremely interesting. That's going to be definitely a target. So only went after one player because one was all we needed, and it's a really, really huge upgrade over Eric Berry even, which sounds strange to say because Eric Berry had injuries and unfortunately that battle with cancer, very, very tough, but he was the best safety in the NFL maybe for a while. He was so talented, strong side at least. He was so good, and now John Johnson is a significant upgrade over him, at least in the game. 89 overall, star development, only 25 years old. John Johnson III has been a monster for the Rams ever since coming into the NFL and earning that starting job. So he is now part of the new Legion of Boom, and I know it's coming along. We're working it together. It's the new Legion of Boom. We need to get better cornerbacks to support that. Tedrick Thompson doesn't exactly scream Legion of Boom, but we're working on it, all right? We're going to figure it out. I promise you. NFL draft time. We pick at 22 overall. Vikings hold the number 1 overall pick. I don't know why they're so bad in sim, but I feel like they have the first round pick, or the first overall pick, I should say, every single time we're in a draft. They just lose and lose and lose and lose and lose. And this is a less than great draft class, let me tell you from what it looks like. This is Marquis Jacobs. Looks more like a Mark to me. I don't know. He looks incredible. We just don't need him. I'm going to be interested to see what his overall ends up being. And this is not a great draft class. Now, we could take a defensive end. I'm a little bit underwhelmed by them, if I'm being honest. So I think I'm going to take a safety, which seems odd, but it's happening. I like what he's working with. Lonnie Mabry, of course. He's a Texas Longhorn. How can I pass up? You know what happened the last time the Seahawks took a 5'10 safety out of Texas? I'm sure some of you do. Earl Thomas. Now, is this Earl Thomas replacement? He's a number 8 player in the draft, has star development. 75 overall, maybe. Maybe. He's going to be a nickel cornerback, at least for us right out the gate. He's kind of slow at 85 speed. But even he doesn't have to be an Earl Thomas clone to be a good player for us. Not bad. Let's go with Javon T Lynch here in the second round out of North Dakota State. Some good NDSU players in the NFL. Carson Wentz, the list kind of ends there. Easton Stick, I know, is a player from there. Let's see how he develops. He's a first-round talent, number 16 in the class. Only a 71 overall, unfortunately. And that's one of the 16 best players in the entire class. 71 overall, 77 power moves, 78 speed. He's okay. He's just going to be a depth player for us. That's all that means. I definitely don't intend on starting him with normal development over LJ Collier. Tell you that much. Let's go Jeff Mckinley here. We have not addressed outside linebacker to replace KJ Wright. He is barely a good pick. He's a 65 overall. So that's where we are in the class. There's no players available that are above a 65 in terms of true talent, which is pretty poor. We're just going to simulate to the end. Now, there could be steals that are lurking that I haven't found. That's definitely a possibility, but none at our positions of need, so it's not really worth it for me to stick around. Pretty good draft for us, though. And the CPU got a 71 overall. Tommy Bean. Now, he looks huge. We don't need him. Damn, the CPU actually drafted well down the stretch. That's crazy. They never do that. They actually drafted well. That's insane to me. We'll see how good this draft class was. First overall pick was a wide receiver. Don't see that anymore. But definitely a very, very good player at a 79 overall. The rich get richer. The Vikings added that really, really talented receiving core. And there were two 79s. Laquan Watkins, also a cornerback, and Moses Molden. Kind of a cool name. Any steals here? Marquis Jacobs was one of the best players in the draft at 75 overall. Went in the second round. Yeah, you could tell he was going to be a beast. This was a good quarterback. Good safety, George Bryant, but we got a better one in Mabry. About 20 picks earlier, however. All right, perfect. Mabry's going to play the slot. I guess Lynch wants to be a rush end. LJ Collier, like, why would he not be a rush end? It doesn't make... He's 283, so he's a big boy. I mean, why... I don't know. That's weird. I guess Lynch is going to play rush end. I'm not going to change it. David Moore is going to stay in the slot. They don't want DK Metcalf there. I know DK is not a slot receiver. Don't get me wrong. Never did that at Ole Miss. Most of the time it was A.J. Brown, actually, when DK Metcalf was on the field. Big slot mismatch there. But this is the offense. Things are looking very nice overall, I would say. Team's coming along nicely. Defensively, Mabry's going to be backup free safety. We got John Johnson III in here. And, of course, Mabry is also going to play the slot. So, adding a big defensive back to the mix, I think, is going to be really good for this team. It's going to be really, really good for this team. We're trying to build that new Legion of Boom. Season 3, I want to be successful. I wish I could trade for, like, a stud corner. But I think it's just watching these guys develop for right now. Okay, weird. So, I'm trading for Quan Pritchett here. Jermaine Ifedi a first and a second. I was kind of going around trying to trade for better players with little to no success. And then that went through, and it seems like he has good development based on it saying the player is decent dev trait and then 5 stars, so it's star. It isn't anything crazy, but I'm going to play him over Trey Flowers, and I'm going to try to trade Trey Flowers. If I can somehow acquire an edge rusher, that'd just be swell. I like to talk like I'm from the 40s, so no one relates to me. It's a great strategy I have for YouTubing. Oh, okay. Trey Flowers, Poona Ford, and a first next year for Adam Thielen. Bit of a weird one considering his age, and we don't really need receiver all that much. But I guess we have a superstar X-Factor receiver now to add to the group. It's an interesting trade. That's about as much as I could say. I would rather have our guy Tyler Lockett in the slot. I know he's not a slot specialist. He splits his time on the outside and in the slot. Doug Baldwin was a slot for a while before his injuries led to retirement. This is going to be the team. Some odd trades happened, but that's like every video. So I will see you guys at the midseason mark. Hopefully we are successful, but you guys know me. I won't be. All right, so it's always something in these rebuilds, man. I've made another error. This is going to be a real short one for the Seahawks, so I'm actually going to do another season. This was frustrating because the players are progressing. We just lost in the NFC Championship. I clicked stop recording at some point. I must have. I'm not sure what happened, but it stopped recording. I don't know when I would have done it. I wasn't just like, let's sabotage myself. That'd be fun. So the players are regressing. You guys missed a season or two update. Mabry's starting over Tedrick Thompson. He's up to an 82. These are the new overalls. We're going to do another season. I was upset because that was going to be the final season. You guys missed some drafts maybe. I'm not really sure where it ended up being, but there was an hour and a half I recorded. And then there was nothing where I stopped for at least half an hour, I would guess. I'm not sure what you guys missed. You'll know from based on where it is in the game to where it was when you left off, because it is 2022 now into the playoffs. So whatever you missed, wherever we left off, I apologize, but I guess you get an extra season to see the team progress even more. Although I didn't worry about re-signing anybody because I didn't think I would have to, as the Browns beat the Panthers, who we lost to. We got to bring back Von Miller. We got to bring back Bobby Wagner, DK Metcalf, Ben Burke-Irvin even, Jason Myers maybe. There are so many players I need to bring back. LJ Collier can walk. He kind of sucks. He hasn't done anything for me this entire rebuild, so I'm done with him. But these top 3 players for sure need to come back, even though they're regressing. We don't really have a ton of money, but we need to bring them back. Von Miller doesn't want to sign. So we're going to bring back Bobby Wagner. It's going to have to be more money because these guys are just like, nah, I'm not re-signing. Bobby Wagner's going to re-sign. DK Metcalf's going to re-sign. It's going to be a 6-year deal. I got to up the salary. And now I know what you're thinking. We're not going to have the cap room to be able to re-sign Von Miller. I get it. We're going to kind of work the system a bit, which means Jason Myers has to come back. I can't really upgrade at a kicker, unfortunately, but Jason Myers will be fine. He's back. Gary Jennings can walk. Ben Burke-Kirvin's been a really good backup for us. It's played a significant amount of time. So I do want to bring him back. He's back. And now, even though we don't have the money to re-sign Von Miller, we're going to franchise tag him, which means we do have the money. Now, we're going to be in negative cap for right now, which kind of sucks. It just means I can't sign anybody or bring anybody in under any circumstance. We're negative 11.3 mil. Had to happen. Do I have a pick in 2022? No, I pick at the end of round 2. The Bengals hold the number 1 overall pick. We'll see what we can do with this, but we don't really need anything, so I'm fine with whatever. I'll probably take only this pick in the draft. I didn't scout at all, so all I have scouted here at wide receiver is a baller. Said, hey, Roger Goodell, kill yourself. I'm Devin Coates. I don't do the combine. He's got decent top 3 skills, and he has a 67 overall. Maybe he should have done the combine. He's not that good. Whatever. That's going to be the draft. Pretty eventful draft here in 2023. These are uncharted waters for me. I don't usually go this deep. Usually it's just the tip in some of these rebuilds, but we're full throttle down the throat here. This is the team. There's a little bit of regression. Adam Thielen's down to an 86, and Tyler Lockett continues to progress. DK Metcalf in particular is up to an 86, but we've got a decent offense for sure. Andrew Bauer's up to an 88. Things are going really well, and I think I said before I noticed that I stopped recording, like, the support has been so amazing. As Quan Pritchett goes up to Superstar, that's fantastic. The things have been so great. You guys have been so supportive. It's been incredible. I really cannot thank you enough, whether it is supporting me on Patreon with those donations, whether it's liking the video, watching the video, subscribing to the channel, tweeting me, or sending me messages on Instagram, all that stuff. It's been incredible, so I appreciate you guys a ton. All those links are in the description if you want to do that. I've been meaning to get back to Twitch. Even I'm getting a bunch of new followers on there, and I haven't been streaming because I haven't been able to. But I want to get back to that. Once I get settled down, I'm going to be very busy this year, but I'm going to try to do that again as much as I can. But it is time to simulate to the playoffs. This team is a Super Bowl caliber team. Prove it. So we made the playoffs, 9-7. We have not managed to win more than 10 games. It is a playoff rematch from the game that you guys did not see in the conference championship last year in 2022. Now it's 2023. Seahawks, Panthers, 9-7 versus 9-5-2, which means they get home field advantage. I guess they didn't win their division. We won our division. So we get home field advantage. Very nice. 9th best offense in the league. Last year we had the 4th best defense. This year we're back to number 1. I'm telling you, the Legion of Boom is back. Can we win a Super Bowl finally? We'll see. Russell Wilson, good year. Chris Carson, great year. Rashad Penny, 11 touchdowns. Receiving, Adam Thielen led the team in yards. Catches went to DK Metcalf. Will Dissly quickly behind him. 7 touchdowns for Metcalf, who's finally taking off. Maybe it's cool that we did the extra season. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Bobby Wagner, 115 tackles for loss, 11 from Jerome Baker. A bunch of guys had double-digit tackles for loss. 14 sacks from Von Miller, 10 for Stuart Spellman, 7.5 for Shaquem Griffin, 7 for Javon T Lynch, who we drafted. And he is now replacing LJ Collier. No one had more than an interception. Von Miller, 3 forced fumbles. Any defensive touchdowns? Probably not. No, we didn't see any. I'd love to see Russell Wilson win MVP, but it's Nick Foles again at 74 overall of the 7-8-1 Patriots. You've got to be kidding me. Kerryon Johnson in there again. I'm not sure if you guys saw that the first time that happened. He was in there at number 2, but now you know. NFC Offensive Player of the Year is Jacoby Brissett. Kerryon Johnson in there as well. Russell Wilson at 8. Defensive Player of the Year is Luke Kuechly. Von Miller at 6. Offensive Rookie of the Year is Lonnie Bogan. The 6-9-1 Packers. Nice. No Seahawks. And then Defensive Rookie of the Year, Addison Teal. No Seahawks. Easton Stick. The CPU signed Easton Stick. That's fantastic. We talked about him earlier. I think you guys were around for that, talking about North Dakota State. When we took the edge rusher, I'm not sure if you guys saw that, so I do apologize. This is the team for the final playoff run. How successful will we end up being? Remains to be seen. We're an 88 overall. The defense is sick. Quan Pritchett proved to be a great player to trade for. I'm pretty sure you guys saw that, but maybe not. So I apologize if some of this is confusing. Lynch has already surpassed higher than LJ Collier ever got in terms of overall. This is a good team. Now it's just up to this team to go out there and be successful in the playoffs. We're going to super sim. We're going to do well, I hope. We'll see how it goes. Let's get after it. 91 offense, 89 defense. What overall are their passes? They were close last year. They were an 85. They regressed to an 82. They had J.J. Watt. He appears not to be there anymore. May have retired, I'm not sure. But we're still an 88 overall. We're an 88 overall last year that you guys did not see. They're even worse this year. They did manage to beat us last year. This is the time for revenge. I want a Super Bowl so badly. Yeah, this was, it was pretty much a beatdown, but Carolina has fought their way back into the game. 24-16, 31-16. This one's pretty much over. 34-16 is your final. We get revenge in the wild card over the Panthers. Last time it was an NFC Conference Championship matchup. This was a little bit different, but the stakes were equally as high. Or, well, maybe not equally as high, but it's to stay in the playoffs. To go to the Super Bowl, those are kind of the highest stakes you're going to get other than the actual Super Bowl. But we advanced to the divisional. We're going to be the highest overall team in the NFL. The question is, does that mean we're good enough to win the Super Bowl? That's what you guys are going to see this year. There's no way the Redskins are a higher overall than us, and they went 12-4. They're an 82. Just let me win a couple more games with the best team in the NFL. I don't think I'm asking for too much there. Even 10, maybe even 11. We didn't win 11 games the entire time, and we've had the best team in the NFL for probably the final 3 seasons that we've done. Just a little bit frustrating to see teams win 12, 13, 14 games even. Where was that for me? Real barn burner here, but this is what good defenses do. They hold the opponents to 10 points, 3 for the majority of the game. The final is 13-10. Dwayne Haskins was shut down by the new LOB. The new Legion of Boom is out in full force, led by Quan Pritchett. Whoever Mabry, his name is, Tedrick Thompson, John Johnson III, Shaquille Griffin, Bobby Wagner. This team is back and better than ever. We're going to the conference championship. We're seeing Jacoby Brissett and the 10-5-1 New Orleans Saints, who are an 85 overall. Sim's kind of broken. We know that now. We've been here before. This probably isn't the first rebuild on the channel. We know how bad Sim is. But let's go ahead and see if we can advance to the Super Bowl for the second time. This time, hopefully, we are successful. I think you guys saw the Super Bowl. Again, I'm not really sure where it cut out and what was seen and what was not seen. But all I know is we were one game away from another opportunity to hoist the Lombardi. Let's get after it. And it looks like it's going to be against the Colts, who beat the Jets. Come on, man. Yeah, we're crushing them. Defense has played pretty well, but the offense has really been on fire this game. And the defense is kind of falling apart. What's going on? Don't. That is your final, though. The offense went off. 55 points in the conference championship. It was just a total offensive display. Over 660 yards, 370 yards, 670 yards passing, 8 combined passing touchdowns. But we just out-offensed the best offense in the NFL, maybe, in the New Orleans Saints here. So, Jacoby Brissett's obviously a beast. All right, it is the Colts in the Super Bowl in Arizona. Did anyone get upgraded development-wise? I don't think so. I'm not even sure if it would happen like after Super Bowl week or during, if any players would even be eligible for it. DK Metcalf is not facing the end of the game. That's kind of sad. But up to an 89 overall with morale. Anything happen here? Not really. Defensively, anybody get upgraded to superstar? Ooh, yes, Jerome Baker. Not that it matters at this point, but wow. Jerome Baker up to superstar development. He always progresses so well. Really cannot talk highly enough about Jerome Baker in this game. Would recommend getting him. Hopefully he continues to progress in Dolphins franchise. That's been probably my most well-received series ever. I think I said that before, but you guys didn't see it because of the recording error. They're an 87 overall. This is no cheap game. Let's see what we can do. But yeah, Jerome Baker's a beast. Hope he progresses this well in Dolphins franchise. We'll have to see. But let's get it. Let's get after it. Come on. Come on, Seahawks. Let's go. The new Legion of Boom can carry us to victory. Shut down Andrew Luck. The Colts. This is a Super Bowl rematch. The first Super Bowl we were in, the Colts beat us in Season 2. Mangy dogs. Let's beat them. Yeah, I do. I really am from the 40s. Mangy dogs. That's the best I've got for an insult. It's a big defensive game so far. 10-10 at the half. 13-10 now as we approach the end of the third quarter. We got to keep them out of the end zone. Please score. 22-13, 23-13 after the extra point. And the Seattle Seahawks finally, in the final season, are Super Bowl champions. We get our revenge on Andrew Luck, Frank Reich, and the Indianapolis Colts. We are Super Bowl champions yet again. All thanks to the new Legion of Boom. And you know what it was? It was the away jerseys. That's what it is in the Super Bowl. If you guys don't believe me, check into that. There's some stuff about how the team that's always in the away jerseys wins. I think like every time pretty much, except for 2012 when Aaron Rodgers did it in the green Packers uniforms. But it's pretty much every time. Russell Wilson is your player of the game, your Super Bowl MVP. He's winning a truck, 307 yards and a touchdown. Good stuff, man. Always nice to win a Super Bowl in these rebuilds. We don't do it often enough, even though we build the best team in the NFL pretty much every time. And that's not even hyperbole. Chris Carson, Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson, and Tyler Lockett up there. It's a good bunch, but that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did a final season. I'm glad my recording stopped to some level. It's always nice to win the Lombardi, but that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Like the video, blah, 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 blah. Check out my links in the description. Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. SeaKey Cook Bengal, $20 off. See you in the next one. Take it easy.